What's going on, my Century Unit? It's the Sentiment here, so back again with another classic WWE pay-per-view review. This is the final WWF pay-per-view of 1997. By the way, my roundup of WWF in 1997, 25-year later arc, will be not on this video. It will be next week when I review Raw, the first Raw of the Scratch logo. Reason why I think it's the appropriate way to end the arc. I've been doing it for months now, the start of the year, into the spring, the summer, the autumn. Right now we're in the beginning parts of the winter, the last parts of 2022. After I review this pay-per-view and 2 more Raws, yeah, I need a break, man. I've been doing it for almost a year. Need to turn off my pundit brain and enjoy the rest of the year, going into the New Year's of 2022 to 2023. Anyway, folks, right now I'm reviewing DX In Your House, the final WWF pay-per-view of 1997 at the Springfield Civic Center in Springfield, Massachusetts on the 7th of December 1997. The attendance of the show was 6,358. DX In Your House 97 received about 120,000 pay-per-view buys. I think it's lows at the time, but I think they are saving their money towards Starrcade because of the main event. That's Hogan versus Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Don't worry, folks, I'm reviewing Starrcade 1997 because we're getting close of the 25th anniversary of that show. Yeah, I don't think they're going to spend a lot of money on 2 pay-per-views because DX, it's not really a good show. I'm going to say again when I get to my final overall thoughts of the show. But yeah, I think Starrcade, was a must-see watch show to watch because of Hogan and Sting. Anyway, so the commentators for this show, I'm talking about DX In Your House, is Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. This is the final pay-per-view with the block logo because the following month's pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble, will be the first pay-per-view with the Scratch logo. You could say this is the first pay-per-view of the Attitude Era. The tagline for the show is Attitude is Everything. Yeah, this is built around D-Generation X because this was formed in October, the group, because here's the backstory. So Triple H debuted in 95, and then I think the same year the Clique was formed. Him, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, that's Scott Hall, rest in peace, Kevin Nash and 1-2-3 Kid formed this group called the Clique. Then in 1996, 1-2-3 Kid, Razor and Diesel did this whole the infamous curtain call thing. It was at MSG. They hugged, they wrote character, and they end up going to WCW. And then let's fast forward in 1997. Hall and Nash formed the NWO with Hulk Hogan. You could say D-Generation X is the WWF's version of the NWO. Yeah, don't worry, folks, they're not really recruiting members in the group like the NWO. That's overkill. Don't want to get into it. So anyway, in this past summer, I'm talking about in 1997, Shawn Michaels turned heel when he cost the Undertaker the WWF title against Bret Hart. So that's this show took place 1 month after the Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series, when you had the infamous Montreal Screwjob when Shawn locked Bret in his own submission hold, the sharpshooter. Things tell the referee Earl Hebner to call the bell. Shawn won the title. Bret left the company. You can tell this is the post-Bret Hart pay-per-view. Yeah, Bret also went to WCW, the competition. So how they follow up of the Montreal Screwjob. So anyway, 8 matches on the card for the best. No fall-for-all, was it free-for-all, dark matches on the show. It's just 8 matches on the card. Anyway, so the first match, this is the crowning of the first / inaugural light heavyweight champion. We got Brian Christopher, the son of Jerry the King Lawler, taking on Taka Mitchinoku. This was a good match. Before that, the light heavyweight division was, you could say, forming the summer, because at I think it was like Canadian Stampede when Taka debuted. He fought against the Great Sasaki. In the October-November period, you know, leading up to this match on the show, they did this tournament to crown the first ever light heavyweight champion. The tournament matches, when I'm watching this, you know, they're not that good. The only worth to watch was on the go home the go home until before the show. My apologies. Was Taka Mitchinoku versus Aguilar. That was a fun match to watch. Wasn't a bomb burner, but a decent match to watch. Anyway, so Brian Christopher advanced into the final, because on the same go home show before this show, you got Kane attack Scotty Taylor. That's the future Sky 2 Hottie. So I'm guessing Brian Christopher advanced to the final, because it's hard to find some Shotgun Saturday Night on the network. You have to find it on YouTube or some site. Anyway, that's about this match. Like I say, it was a fun match to watch. Brian Christopher got his mouth busted up. You know, I think he was going for like some move off the ring apron. Taka Mitchinoku got out of the way in the last second, so he hit his face. He was not selling the mouth, but he was bleeding. Kudos to Brian Christopher. Lawler, by the way, he got like the Jerry Kid, or is it Jerry Kids chant towards Brian Christopher, because I think Lawler never acknowledged that Brian Christopher is Lawler's son. You know, I'll get to more of that later on. So he came out of his commentary booth, Lawler, and just wiped the blood off the mouth of Brian Christopher. Anyway, so try to keep it short and simple. In the end, I think Christopher, I'm talking about Brian Christopher, he was going for his finisher. I think Jim Ross called it like the Tennessee Jazz, so I'm going to call it. So Christopher, you know, the future Grandmaster Sexay, was going for the Tennessee Jam. That was the leg drop off the top rope, but Taka got out of the way. Taka hit the Michinoku driver to win this match and become the first light heavyweight champion in the company's history. It's a damn shame that Taka didn't stay in the company that long. He lasted until 2001, and it's a shame he never came back to the company, because great example, he should have came back around 2002, 2003 period, because of the cruiserweight division on SmackDown. I think he will thrive well in that cruiserweight division. Like, you can hang with the guys like Rey Mysterio, great example. That'll be a good match. Billy Kidman. He could probably have some good matches with Jamie Noble. It's a shame that he never came back. I don't know if he left on bad terms. The whole Kind Time stuff they did in the in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think it was a stupid, basically stale racial on Japanese. I don't want to get into it. I think some parts were funny, but it's just, he was not going to be like, oh, world champion or the top guy. He's there for, hey, let's random some Japanese guys with Naki and Dick Togo from this group, doesn't speak English. Also, during this match, Brian Christopher did like the Kung Fu gesture, even though he's not Chinese. Taka Mitchinoku, even though he's from Japan. So, anyway, that's my ramble. It was a good opener to kick off the show. Wasn't a bomb burner, but it was a decent, fun match to watch. Anyway, after this match, you can tell the show took a nosedive, fall down the cliff after the opener. So, before we get to the second match, there's one segment, there's one segment, I'm going to talk about is Goldust Reading Green, Eggs, and Ham. Absolute stupid. He's wearing a pink wig, white face, black mask. Luna dyed her hair pink instead of her traditional blonde hair. He's holding Goldust on a leash like a dog. It was stupid. It was killing time. Why they done this? The one, yeah, because the build up to this, they're kind of feuding. I thought they were leading up to him and Vader at the pay-per-view, but unfortunately that's not the case. You have to do this segment. Don't worry, they fight at the Royal Rumble the following month. So what? It's just like, yeah, reading green eggs and ham. Wow, that's so edgy. Not really. It was so stupid because it was a storyline going into that time. Because of because Goldust deforced Marlena in storyline wise. And also we got the return of Mark Henry. I think he got hurt or something, and he ended up being part of the Nation Domination next year until about 1998, and he ended up becoming Sexual Chocolate, and then becoming a world champion in 2011, Hall of Pain. That was also that same year. So anyway, let's move on to the next match. So the next match, this is a 6-man tag team match. We got 3 members represent Los Boricuas. That is Miguel Perez Jr., Jose Estrada, and who's it? Jesus Costello, I think. Sorry, I can't pronounce the name properly. Taking on the represent members of the Disciple of Apocalypse. That's Chains, 8 Ball? Yeah, 8 Ball and Skull. At this moment in time, Crush has just left the WWF because of the protest of the Montreal Screwjob. So you can tell this was basically the end of the. This was the end of the faction warfare thing. It was stupid. I said in my review of the Go Home Raw before the show. I don't want to talk about it, so I'm not in more details. Yeah, before the start of the match, I think Tim White or one of the referees kind of kicked out Savio Vega. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't great. It was an okay match it was just an okay match, standard match. One more in the match, I thought like Miguel Perez injured his knee. I think he hit one of the members of DOA with an axe handle off the top rope, selling the knee injury. The announcer saying that he hyperextend his knee. In the end, Savio Vega, got interfered. Miguel Perez's injury, it was fake. He was playing possum. Anyway, Los Boricuas got the victory, and that was it. DOA is dead in the water, man. Losing Crush was a big blow, but at the same time, I don't think they actually won in this story arc. I don't think they won like a match. Maybe they did, but for me, they were both like losers, man. So, they're not really over, man, at this moment in time. They got cheered, but that's not saying too much. They're both like losers. Let's move on to the next match. So the next match, this is the worst match of the night. This is a tough man match. We got Marc Meros with his real life wife Sable, the future wife of Brock Lesnar, taking on Butterbean Eric Ursh. This is the time of the whole Marc Meros Sable stuff when Sable's getting super over. Marc Meros is getting jealous because of Sable's getting attention, like a good reaction. Like a few Raws, you had Marc Meros getting in the face of Butterbean. He's this shoot fighter. He ended up competing MMA. That was in Japan. Go and watch his fights in boxing and MMA on YouTube. Anyway, he got in the face of Butterbean because he's looking at Sable. It did really Marc Meros in this storyline. I don't want to get into it. So, there's one segment. You had Sable got interviewed by Michael Cole, and she said like she won't be in Marc Meros' corner. And Meros said, did I give you permission to do the interview? Did I give you to speak? It's all about me, blah, blah, blah. He didn't really say blah, 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 but, treating Sable like shit. Let's talk about this match. The Tough Man match. I don't recall it a Tough Man match. It's basically a boxing fight. And also they show pictures of Sable holding the belt because the night before Butterbean competed in a boxing fight. The match, on a positive side, it was a dud, by the way. On the positive side, at least it got knocked. Marc Mero didn't got knocked out in seconds like when Butterbean knocked out Bot Gunn at WrestleMania 15. That was after Bot Gunn won the Brawl for All. That was one of the biggest blunders of WWE's history. Don't want to get into that, so it was a dud. You know, Marc Mero is a good fighter. I think he's a good potential fighter. If he never compete in professional wrestling, I think he'd probably make a good boxer, man. Could be a potential world champion. He can actually go. He did cheat in this match. You know, he's hiding between the ropes. After the first and 2 rounds ended, Mero did like some cheat shots towards Butterbean. I think end of the first round, he kind of punched him in the back of the head. Butterbean got pissed off. And then in the end of the second round, he drop kicked Butterbean. Anyway, so Butterbean managed to knock out Marc Mero, but unfortunately that doesn't really count. Anyway, in the end, Marc Mero just got himself disqualified. He kind of low blow Butterbean and hit him with a stool, and that was it. Okay, boxing fight, but here's the one nitpick about this. This is a professional wrestling show. It just never works because every time they do like a boxing fight, or years later in TNA they end up doing an MMA type of thing. I know AEW did like an MMA fight between Wardlow and Jake Hager. No one wants to see that because they are wrestling fans. Boxing fans and MMA fans like pro wrestling, but if I want to watch these type of things, I would probably watch boxing or MMA. People want to see scripted entertainment. They want to see pro wrestling. They don't want to see some shoot fighting, man. It just never worked. And I don't think they did a follow-up onto this for the best, man, because Butterbean is not really a good work. He's not really a wrestler, actually. He's a boxer / MMA fighter. You won't see Butterbean again until, when he knocked out Bot Gunn in seconds at WrestleMania 15 in 2 years later. So let's move on to the next match. So that's match number 3. Match number 4, this is for the WWF Tag Team Championships. The second of 4 championship matches on the show. New Age Outlaws defending the belts against the Legion of Doom. New Age Outlaws, that was Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, won the belts from the Legion of Doom. I think it was on the 25th of November's episode of Monday Night Raw of that year. And this is the rematch. So, match sucked. I liked the first match on that 25th of November 1997 episode of Raw, but it was boring. No chemistry. You can tell like LOD's past their prime. Their momentum was gone. I know they got like a good crowd reaction, but their momentum was gone. It was kaput. When they dropped the belts. Well, really they should have won the belts in April. They have to have Owen and Bulldog with like holding on the belts much longer. Anyway, so nothing much to talk about. Like I feel like the first half of the match, LOD got the offense. Then the second half, New Age Outlaws got second, also got their offense after I think it was Billy Gunn or Road Dogg hit Hawk with I think it was a white bin or something, or a white box. They got their comebacks. In the end, LOD was about to win the tag team belts, trying to hit I think it was Road Dogg with the Doomsday Device. Out comes the return of the Godwins. I think it was Phileas or Henry. Hit one of the members of Legion of Doom with a slip bucket. And then, Hawk grabbed the bucket and hit Billy Gunn instead. That caused a DQ. And, the New Age Outlaws retained the tag team titles. Makes sense, it just won the tag team titles. This is their first title defense, on pay-per-view. Makes no sense to lose the belts. But, they got more popular in 1998 when they part of DX. This was the beginning of the end of Legion of Doom. They ended up doing the whole Legion of Doom 2000 with Sunny. They're wearing helmets. It looks cool in my opinion. I don't want to get into it, but this is leading up to Hawk. Using the company's using Hawk's personal problems because at the time he was dealing with drug issues as a storyline. Don't want to get into it. So it was shit. It's just shit, man. Not the worst, but the second worst match of the night. So let's move on to the next match. This is a boot room match. Oh yeah, not boot room match. Boot camp match. My apologies. Triple H taking on Sergeant Slaughter. This is the first pay-per-view match of Triple H as the DX Triple H. Because the whole bulk of '97 he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, this Connecticut rich snob character. Now he's the DX Triple H. He's not the serious Triple H. He was the comedy heel Triple H. The build up to this, you basically Triple H was mouthing up towards Sergeant Slaughter because at the time he was the commissioner of the WWF, towards his wife because of his private parts. Did a lot of penis jokes, like using phrase like Lance Corporal and Bazooka. In this promo, he said he's gonna go to his Slaughter's wife's house and with his like piece on her pipe or his pipe. Jesus Christ, man. Anyway, so the boot room match, it wasn't a bad match, but at the same time, it wasn't gonna be a 4-star classic. It went too long. It was 17 minutes long. It doesn't mean it's a terrible match. It was just mediocre. It's okay-ish. I think Slaughter, like the Legion of Doom, they're way past their prime. I think like Slaughter, the whole bulk of the match, he got mostly more of the offense than Triple H. Like hitting him with the belt. I think it was some kind of rod, or I think it was like a crop or something, like a whip or something. I don't know. Slaughter took some Triple H Irish whip Slaughter out of the ring, into the corner and out of the ring. That was sick, I don't know how the Slaughter at the time, like in that Butterbean Marc Meros match, they're both the same age, 31, but I think Slaughter's about in his 70s right now, so back then he's probably in his 50s, or late 40s, early 50s. Anyway, China did not get involved. He got involved a little bit, like when one more of the match, Triple H, Slaughter locked in the Cobra Clutch onto Triple H. China broke up the hold. Then he got in the face. I think he got in the face of the of the referee. He's about to hit. He got. I think she trying to blind Slaughter in the face with the white powder, but it backfired. China got covered in the face with the powder. And Slaughter managed to lock in the Cobra Clutch again onto Triple H. I thought Triple H would lose, but instead China low-blowed on Slaughter. And like I said, she didn't really interfere a lot. It's for the best. In the end, Triple H hit Slaughter with the pedigree onto the chest for the win. It's for the best. You're building Triple H up. I think he's for the right call. Slaughter, I think it's a one-off. His first match back. It's good for Triple H. It could elevate his start, not just like '98, but in the future, because Slaughter was a former WWF champion. I think it was the right call to have Triple H win this match. Because I think sometimes he put over legends. Great example with Ric Flair in 2005. Anyway, I think it's the right call. I'm glad they never do a follow-up after this. Slaughter remained as the commissioner. I think they stopped doing that. And they end up doing the 240 figures in the next couple of years. With Vince as the owner of the company. So anyway, so let's talk about the next match. So the next match is match number 6. Match number 6. So the next match number 6, we got Jeff Jarrett versus The Undertaker. This is Jeff Jarrett's first match back in the company because he spent 1 year in WCW, part of the Horsemen. He was feuded with Mongo over Debra. He made his return in October of that year. He cut this shoot promo on Brett, Shawn, and also on Vince, and mostly on Austin when he brings up when Austin cut the Austin 316 promo. It offends Austin because he kind of Austin thought that he's proffering the Bible. I don't know if Jeff Jarrett was a religious man. I'm not too sure on it. So anyway, Jarrett he don't want to be this clown anymore. He's not this Western country singer Jeff Jarrett. He ended up ditching the hat and the glasses. Still wearing the Double J gimmick. I think this is the only time he's wearing a singlet. Anyway, so Undertaker. This is his first match since his epic first Hell in a Cell match against Shawn Michaels at Bad Blood 2 months prior in October. He took a break. He appeared on One Raw, cutting the promo on Kane and Paul Bearer, and that was it. Anyway, keep it short and simple. Match was filler. Wrong opponent for Jeff Jarrett because you were trying to build him up as some kind of like going to the next main event player, but unfortunately that's not the case. Jarrett got really some of the offense, like hitting and working on the leg of the Undertaker. Taker hit some strikes with his arms, hitting the old school or the current school. And then suddenly the lights comes out. Out comes Kane. Kane chokeslam Jeff Jarrett, and that was a disqualification. Then Taker and Kane did that stare off. Taker's facial expressions, he was very, not upsetting, but he's not angry because he doesn't want to fight his brother Kane. And Kane just slapped him in the face. He left. And then afterwards, Jarrett did like a cheap shot, a sneak attack towards the Undertaker, trying to lock him with the 54 leg lock. Then Undertaker grabs Jarrett behind the throat, or by the throat, my apologies. Grab him by the throat, hit him with the chokeslam. When he hit that chokeslam, he almost botched it. He's almost wobbling, but he managed to pull it off, so he left. Afterwards, and the announcers informed Jeff Jarrett won by disqualification. It made the referee raise his hand, and that was it. It made Jarrett look stupid. I don't want to get into it, but he didn't really do much in this. Actually, his second run, I don't know. I think his first run, he ended up becoming, I think it's a little bit memorable. He did With My Baby Tonight, winning the Intercontinental Champion. I think in his second run, he did win the IC title belt. He also became a tag team champion with Owen Hart, plus winning the European champion. Also, by the way, it's a fun note, folks. Jeff Jarrett was the first Eurocontinental champion. People say Angle was the first Eurocontinental champion, but the first guy to hold both the European and Intercontinental title belts together. Nope, it was Jeff Jarrett. That was in 1999, year before Angle hold both the belts. So it's a fun note to talk about. So. This is more furthering up the storyline between Undertaker and Kane leading up to their match at WrestleMania 14 the following year. So moving on to the third of 4 championship matches of the show, we got Stone Cold Steve Austin defended the Intercontinental Championship against The Rock. I think that I'm gonna call him The Rock at this moment in time. Because at the time, you can tell Rocky Mafia is becoming The Rock, he's no longer the blue chipper, when he debuted the company in 1996, becoming The Rock, slowly become The Rock, you can see right now, calling people like jabronis, the people's champion. I don't know, I think it's 98 will say know your role. Anyway, so it started in Bad Blood in 1998, 1997, my apologies. It started at Bad Blood in October, 2 months prior, when Austin helped Owen win the IC title from Farouk. Then it was more between Austin and the Nation. So on the build up to this, you had The Rock, stealing the belt from Austin, and said about sorry, my apologies, speaking too fast, man. So that's the build up to this, Rock, doing, becoming The Rock, calling the fans, the people. He's not like The Rock. He'll become, in as a main event player, still part of the Nation. So I think it's the first pay-per-view. I think it's the first pay-per-view with the Rock tights, not the one with the Brahma Bull symbol on it. That'll be years later when he was in the main event player. So yeah, I think the go. I think it was not the go home. I think it was the Raw before DX, or the 2 weeks before the show. You had Austin playing in the control room, tighting Rocky sucks, because I think Rock got offended for saying Rocky sucks. I don't think it didn't bother him when he was the corporate champion in the following year. So anyway, he grabbed the mic, says he's going to defend the IC title, even though he's not the IC champion because he stole the belt from Stone Cold Steve Austin. So match was fun. It was short. Yeah, before the start of the match, you had Karma, Farouk, D'Lo beating down Austin, and then Austin he kind of back body drop D'Lo Brown onto Austin's pickup truck. I think D'Lo kind of landed onto the front window. Then he hits D'Lo on top of the pickup truck with the Stone Cold Stunner. And then Farouk trying to hit Austin in the face with a chair, accidentally hits Karma instead. Yeah, you had Austin lay out the members of the Nation. I think, and at this moment in time, I think it was the Go Home Raw before the show. Rock ended up performing the People's Elbow onto Vader. You know, you can tell these slowly transformation into the Rock. You know, getting away from the Rocky Maivia stuff, that character into the Rock character, leading up to the 1998 and beyond. So anyway, so and in the end, Rock, you know, Austin accidentally, and also throughout the whole match, Austin was wearing his vest, and you know, it's never a shame you never use you know, made Austin 316 as a catchphrase. You know, his main trademark catchphrase is "Give me a hell yeah, what was it? There's you know, whooping up a can of whoop ass. You know, you never use Austin 316 as a catchphrase. You know, he said it once at King of the Ring in 1996. So anyway, I don't know why they didn't make it as a catchphrase. I don't know. And also, it's funny that, you know, Austin wearing his waistcoat throughout the whole match. It's funny that a few years later at WrestleMania in 2003, Rock ended up wearing Austin's waistcoat. You know, I don't know. Anyway, so in the end, you know, Austin accidentally hit the referee with the stunner. Rock trying to hit Austin with the brass knucks. In the end, Austin hit The Rock with the Stone Cold Stunner to win this match and retain the title. And by the way, this is the one and only time that Austin defends the Intercontinental Championship belt. I think this is leading up to, I don't know, leading up to this or afterwards, you know, Austin kind of throw the IC title belt into the water. I don't know, I think it was before or after, I forgot to mention that, so that was kind of fun. So the reason why I say Austin, this is the one and only time that Austin retained the IC title on the pay-per-view. By the way, he beat Owen Hart at Survivor Series the previous month, anyway, to end that rivalry between him and Owen. So anyway, the reason why I say that, because Austin did not lose the title to The Rock. He forfeited the belt to The Rock, and The Rock, you know, went on to hold the belt until dropping the belt to Triple H at SummerSlam the following year. It was a sign that Austin's time as the mid-card, in the mid-card, was over. Yeah, it's funny that the following month he ended up winning the 1998 Royal Rumble match, second of 3 in his career, and he went on to guide the company into the Promised Land, winning his first world title against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14 with Mike Tyson as the enforcer. It's funny, like Rock and Austin, you know, are groomed to be the next, really carry the company in the next couple of years. You know, Rock is the co-star, Austin's the main star. You know, it's funny, like they both debuted in 1996. Austin in the beginning of the year, Rock in the end of the year. They both won their first Intercontinental Championship belts of that same year in 1997, and they won't win their first world title until 1998. You know, Austin in the beginning of the year, Rock at the end of the year, and you know, I know this match was weaker, but you can tell there's chemistry, knowing that, you know, Austin and Rock going to be, you know, the two biggest stars of the Attitude Era because of the, you know, the character, the personality, the star power. So let's talk about the main event. So the main event, this is for the WWF Championship. We got Shawn Michaels defending the belt against the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. Shawn won the belt at Survivor Series in that infamous Montreal Screwjob against Bret Hart. Shamrock, I think by default, is the number one contender because, you know, he had the go home Raw before Survivor Series. It was ended disqualification by, I think, Triple H got involved. Then he won the rematch against Shawn Michaels when Slaughter's help. Anyway, Shawn Michaels rocking with that. His tights was badass on this show. It was the DX tights with it's the hearts with the DX logo on it. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool wearing that. I don't like when he was wearing like the Shawn Michaels attire from like in the mid to late 2000s before he retired in 2010. I never liked it, but with the hearts, shape onto his tights, it looks cool, man. It was a fun match, but here's my nitpick about it. It was a lot, never run-ins. There were a lot of run-ins, but there was interference by Triple H in China. What I'm saying, it was good. Like one more of the match, Shamrock hit Triple H and Shawn Michaels, give them a double knocker. But it was a lot of interference by China and Triple H. Really brought this match down. But one more of the match, I think Shawn was going for the sweet chin music. Shamrock counted into his suplex. He ended up hitting Shawn with the he locked. Sorry. Anyway, so he locked in the ankle lock onto Shawn Michaels when Triple H and China got in the ring, cost a DQ. And yeah, that was a bullshit finish. It wasn't a terrible main event, but it was just too much interference by DX. It's stupid. I'm not saying Shamrock would win this match on the show because Shawn just won the belt, but there was a lot of interference. The referee never kicked both Triple H and China out of ringside. So anyway, they beat down Shamrock even more and lead up to the return of Owen Hart. This is Owen Hart's first appearance since Montreal Screwjob. He basically he kind of pushed Shawn Michaels off the ring apron and through the announce table. This is leading up to the Black Heart. That's Owen Hart's face turn. It really backfired for Owen Hart because Owen was better off as the heel. But anyway, so it's a shame for Shamrock because I think it's the one and only time he will be in the main event of a pay-per-view for the World Championship. Maybe he did challenge for the world title around 98, 99, but came off short. It's a shame for Shamrock never won the world title. He led up to have a good year in 1998, have a good feud with The Rock, winning the 1998 King of the Ring tournament, plus win the Intercontinental title belt. But it's a shame he never won the world title, man. I think he could be a good world champion. I think he was world champion in the UFC, and he went on to win the world title in TNA in 2002 when they start doing the weekly pay-per-views. But maybe it has to do with maybe it has to do with the spots has been taken. Filling up. Triple H is going to be a future world champion, future main event guy. Undertaker is established. I don't know, man. Also, Rock is also going to be a future main event player, future world champion. So it's a shame for Ken. He never truly came back to the company. I don't know. He left on very bad terms. I'm not too sure. So for Shawn, I think this was the only good match, positive. Despite all the interference, it leading up to that infamous match at the Royal Rumble the following month against the Undertaker. The casket match. Taker, I think, it back by the drop Michaels onto the casket. Shawn land on the edge of the casket, led up to his back injury. It cost him 4 years of his career. I might review Royal Rumble not next time, but in the future. So my final rating of DX In Your House 97. It's the one and only DX show that he ever did. I'm guessing this was their version of NWO's version of Sold Out. Anyway, I give it a 4 out of 10. Actually, 4.5 out of 10. This was crap. This was. I heard PWE, the PWA. The PW Insider. Vote Bad Blood to be the worst pay-per-view of the year. But I think this show is. Bad Blood's way better than this show. This show was not a good show. He had some good on the show, the Taka versus Brian Christopher was good. Austin versus Rock for the IC title. That was also a fun match to watch. It was entertaining. Despite the China Triple H interference in the main event, I think Shawn and Shamrock was also a fun main event, despite all the bullshit finish. But the OK is the OK, like the Los Boricuas versus DOA, Triple H Slaughter in the boot camp match. It wasn't terrible matches, but they're just not great. There were a lot of bad on the show, man. Like Marc versus Marc versus Butterbean, Jeff Jarrett, Undertaker. The tag team title match between New Age Outlaws versus the Legion of Doom, and plus Goldust segment that really had no business to be on the pay-per-view. So anyway, hope you enjoyed my review of DX in Your House 97. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Smash the like button, click the like, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, this is technically the final classic WWE pay-per-view review of 2022. The next 2 weeks, I'm taking the break. The first one of 2023 will be the Royal Rumble season. I did a post a few days ago, ran out of ideas. What classic Royal Rumble pay-per-view I review over the timelines should I review? I don't know. I'll lead up to my century units. Because next week I might do a poll, what the classic Royal Rumble to kick off the Royal Rumble season of 2023, leading up to the 2023 Royal Rumble show. Until then, this is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.